up, what up? It's your boy DJ Naeem. I want to give a huge shout out. Going out to my Jersey boys, breaking down these UFC cards, baby. Let's go.
Got a little mama and she chillin' by the poolside. Fashion over drip, body done with a hair tie. Ex keep calling to that boy, he need to sit back. You don't got a bag, you can never get your chick back. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, 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 yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, 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 yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans.
Check it. When I'm in Vegas, bring the drops out. Yeah. When I'm in Miami, bring the yachts out. Water, water, water.
Welcome back to Jersey Boys Podcast. My name's Steve Ricciardi. With me, as always, is Jiu-Jitsu Drew. Drew, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, brother? How we doing?
Listen, I'd be doing a lot better if Bowling Green could make the front end of a 1-on-1. You know what I mean? Because when you bet some college basketball and they can't finish off the deal, it's a little annoying. But let's get into this UFC card. We got UFC 258 on Saturday night. Usman versus Burns. Are you buying this?
Yes, because I want to watch it and not get arrested. And it's my only.
You scared Uncle Dana, huh?
And it's my only option. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, dude, whatever. I'm gonna buy it. I do have a couple fights here that I do want to see. I'm actually really excited for the Gilbert Burns Kamaru Usman main event. I'll tell you in a little while who I'm heavy on. Macy Barbara, Alexa Grasso, number 10 versus 15. Well, 9 versus 20 now, as I'm looking at Tapology here. Just to tell you a little bit about those numbers, why are they a co-main event? I really couldn't tell you, but after watching tape, I'm actually really, really excited. And to me, it kind of makes sense why they're a co-main event. I mean, 2 females as a co-main event, and one's 20 and one's number 9. You would think, like, why are they even here? But yeah, I'm really excited about this card, so should be good.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I'm even gonna buy it. You know, again, if we may go to Wally's caucus, but I'm not even going to push for it right now. I think that some of the cards on the main event, on the main card, some of the fights on the main card, really are. I'm not really all that excited for. I mean, I watch UFC, so I'll watch the fights eventually, but I may wait until those fights get put on the ESPN app to watch them. So I don't even know if I'm buying this weekend. But let's get into this card. Let's start off with some quick picks, bro.
Quick pick.
Who you like? Lima Muhammad?
Bilal.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bilal, maybe decision probably. Bobby Green, Jim Miller.
Only because I am a fanboy here and I'm going to lean. I'm going Jim Miller.
Yeah, Jersey Jim Miller. I like him too, but I think Bobby Green's wrestling is going to be good enough to tire out Jim Miller early. And, most people know Jim Miller, with the Lyme disease, he does tire out. He has better control of it. But what is he now, 37, 38, 39, something like that? I think Bobby Green gets that one. So I like Bobby Green by decision there. This is actually a pretty good fight, underrated. Ricky Simone and Brian Kelleher, right? Ricky Simone averages a ridiculous number of takedowns per fight, and then you got Brian Kelleher, who, he's been known to snatch up a neck and that guillotine. Who you like there?
Yeah, I was just gonna say Brian Kelleher. I mean, Ricky's definitely gonna bring the takedowns. We already know what he's gonna do here. But with Brian, that well said, he has 2. Like, you usually say he has a puncher's chance when a guy you feel doesn't match up well with an opponent. But Brian here, although he might not match up well with the wrestling or maybe even the striking, he does have bombs on his wrist with those fists. And like you said, if you take him down, he can snatch you up real quick. He can snatch up that neck, and it's pretty lethal. He's put out a couple people, and we've seen it in the past. So he has a chance here to win, but if I have to lean, I'm going to Ricky.
Yo, Drew, just keep in mind, these are quick picks, bro. Quick picks.
No, sorry, dude. Sorry. I just saw the tape rolling in my head, and I just started talking. Sorry.
I gotta put my volume up a little bit. All right. Next fight, Jillian Robertson, who killed me a few weeks ago, and Miranda Maverick. Who's your quick pick here?
Oh God. I'm just gonna go Miranda just because I hate Jillian, and not really hate you, Jillian, but yeah, Miranda.
I'm just really frustrated with Jillian right now because I bet her against Tala Santos, and then how about a week or two later after that she beats Pro Gonzalez in a grappling bout. We talked about, but did you get the bet on that?
No, I didn't get to put a bet
On
on
the Pro
that.
Gonzalez?
No, I didn't get to put a bet on it, but you could have
All right,
if
you're
you wanted
back.
to.
You there, Drew?
Yep, I'm here. Got me?
Yeah, I lost it. Yeah, I think my Wi-Fi is going in and out right now, but I got you back here. All right, so let's get to this next fight. My quick pick. I'm gonna actually go back to the well. I'm gonna go to Julian Robertson, but I don't think I'm betting it. Your boy Rodolfo Vieira and Anthony Hernandez. What do you think here?
Rodolfo Vieira is just dominant. That's all I'm gonna say. He's dominant, gets the dub.
Gets a sub because I think I'm gonna go Vieira sub.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm
Okay.
leaning.
Yeah. Again, I remind you a quick pick. Now you don't want to say anything. I'm sorry, I scared you away. Gabe Green and Philip Rowe. What do you think here? Quick pick.
I didn't really get to see a lot of tape on Gabe Green or much of anything, but I do know about Philip Rowe. Good jiu-jitsu, so I'm gonna roll that way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie at all. I did not tape that fight, so I'm not even gonna give a quick pick and act like I have an opinion yet. Too early in the week, I didn't even look at it. And then the last one I do have an opinion on: Polyana Viana and Mallory Martin. What do you think here?
Two good strawweights, but I'm gonna go Viana.
Oh, I'm going Mallory Martin. My quick pick is Mallory Martin. I just think Viana finds too many ways to lose fights. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go Martin. I think we're having some connectivity issues here between myself and you, Drew.
I don't know, dude. I don't even have my
Drew.
Wi-Fi on.
All right. So let's get to the first fight on the main card. Drew, I'm gonna send it to you, and we'll see how this works because we're having some connectivity issues on this one. This is a late fight to the dance, right? This was just announced, I believe, yesterday. Today is Tuesday. So we're doing our breakdown on Tuesday. I believe this fight was announced on Monday. And this is Andre Ewell and Chris Gutierrez. And Ewell had a fight canceled a few weeks ago also. So he's back here against Gutierrez. I'm going to give you my breakdown. I think Gutierrez is going to struggle if he doesn't keep his distance and get in on Ewell's legs. I think his kicks are very good, and he's really got to eat at Ewell's legs if he wants to stay out of trouble. If he's just gonna, box with Ewell, I think Ewell has the reach advantage. I think it's like 8 inches from what I'm looking at right here. 8-inch reach advantage. So I think he's gonna really be able to box him up and keep him at range. So Gutierrez is gonna have to be able to get on the inside a little bit, use his combinations, which is what we were hoping Frankie Edgar was going to do the other day. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But really has to attack with his leg kicks. So, I have a slight lean. I'm going to start this off with a very slight lean to Chris Gutierrez, and I think the leg kicks are going to be the difference in the fight. Drew, what do you think?
That's surprising that you're even going to lean that way, dude. On a week's notice, Chris Gutierrez is going to fight someone who was already training to fight Cody Stamann. So not only is Andre Ewell well prepared, he's already in the mindset of getting ready to fight. He's going to fight somebody who's coming in on a week notice, and Chris Gutierrez, who, is good. Don't get me wrong. He can strike, but he's outmatched, outreached. And in this case, I feel like he's just going to get outstruck. Now, I don't disagree with you that his leg kicks are powerful. He does have a win via leg kick stoppage, literally. But in this sense, the reason I agree with you a little bit more and where Ewell, if he doesn't stick to the strategy of sticking and moving and catching him with that front uppercut that he uses, it's pretty cool. It's like a shovel punch or something like that. If he doesn't stick to the game plan and he doesn't stick to what he has to do, and he's an underdog here, is that what I'm looking at right there? An underdog? Oh man, I think that's a lot of value here for you.
Who was it?
Yeah, I honestly think
I definitely agree with you. I think there's value. In you.
Yeah, on you, especially at a plus 132 underdog right now. The reason I see that is because they probably think that since he was training for a wrestler or something like that, he's probably going to come in with a different mindset going up against a striker, predominant striker. But I feel like this plays right into his wheelhouse. And yeah, he has good leg kicks, but the way that Yule plays his game and sticks and moves in and out of the pocket that way, I don't see it being much of a problem. You know, if he checks a couple of those kicks and stays away from them and just lands and just strikes, he wins by points. So that's the way I'm going to lean. I'm thinking about Andre Ewell by decision, and he comes up with a dub.
Okay, so we're heads up in this first one. Me versus you. We'll see what happens here, brother.
I mean, I love it,
Let's get
dude.
back.
He's an underdog at plus 132. I love that right there, man.
Well, listen, I'm going to give you two things here. I'm going to pick Chris Gutierrez as a pick'em, but I don't think it's a line I want to play, right? Like if he was the dog, I wouldn't mind playing it. But at minus 160, I'm not going to lay that. But I think Gutierrez can win this fight with volume and also with the leg kicks. So that's my breakdown. But I'm not advising a bet. I'm interested to see where you are with this next fight. Kelvin Gastelum and Ian Heinisch. This is on the main card. Gastelum has had a tough run of it over his last few fights. Again, Gastelum is 16-6. He's a minus 215 favorite. And again, he's another one I can't see a bet on Kelvin Gastelum here. So what do you think here, Drew?
You know, it's crazy, right? Because at first glance, when you look at this fight, you'd probably go, oh, well, it's Kelvin Gastelum. And just because you know where he's been and the heights that he's reached, you're automatically going to say, hey, that's where the money should go, right? Like, that's where you're going to place all your money, right?
And
But then comes
let me interrupt you real quick. It was arguably 2-2 going into the fifth round with Izzy, right? Arguably 2-2. And then Izzy was able to get the best of him in that last round. But it looked like Kelvin was going to win that fight. So Drew was on the money with that. Like the heights he's reached, he basically was in there with the champ, who's now defended what 3 times or 2 or 3 times, and now going up to light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, honestly, I'm actually happy you said that because think about it. What if we flip the coin, right? And Kelvin comes out on top of that. I mean, Kelvin has the size. I mean, is it Kelvin moving up a weight class or something like that? Is it he going down a weight class? I mean, whatever it is. I mean, the heights this man has reached, you're automatically going to put Kelvin in a higher tier than most fighters, right? So that's why looking at this fight, anybody look at him and be like, oh, yeah, it's Kelvin versus a whatever, an X. You know what I'm saying? Someone who's whatever. But it's Ian Heinisch. Someone, Ian the Hurricane Heinisch. He's on a 1-win fight streak. Let's see when was the last time he fought. 2020. He beat Gerald Mearshart with an overhand right ground and pound, which makes sense because that's literally what I was about to say. I mean, my man's overhand right is pretty much lethal. And I know you see that punch pretty much everywhere in MMA, especially with wrestlers. That overhand right, which, by the way, he is. But his is kind of special because when it touches you, you are going to go down one way or another, or you're going to feel it, and then it's going to leave you rocked for that round, and you'll feel it later on in the fight. Now, if you look at his losses, he has a loss against Akhmedov, Derek Brunson, and most of them are by decision. So, I mean, and most of his wins are putting people out, punch, elbows from the guard. And in this fight against Kelvin Gastelum, who in his last couple fights, if I'm being completely honest, it's almost like in that Izzy fight, it got taken out of him. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was too much hype. I don't know if it was he blew his load on that fight, and the hype after that. I honestly don't know because I honestly expected more from him after that fight. But who knows? Maybe he comes in here, performs again, and then he's right back on track on a mission for gold, like he says. But if you want to talk about a live dog or the livest of dogs, I'm probably going to say Ian Heinisch is one of them, especially on this night, especially on this card, especially with the story that Ian has behind him too. I don't know if you know his story. If you don't, please look it up. I don't want to get into too much detail here. But dude, I see Ian here. Like, you went slight on the fight before with Chris. I might go a little heavier than slight on Ian here, to be completely honest. I can't hear you, bud.
My bad. I muted my mic. I think this is a tough fight for me. You see the odds there. I'm going to bring it back for everybody. But I think this is a tough fight for me because I just don't know Ian Heinisch, what kind of a game plan he's going to bring here, right? If you go back to some of the previous fights, Kelvin, we all know, wants to stay in the feet and he wants to strike, right? Jack Hermanson was able to kind of grab a limb and lock in that heel hook. Jacare Souza, when they fought, he was really able to neutralize Kelvin with bringing him down and almost tapping him out. Chris Weidman was able to tap out. Now, great BJJ, but he will Kelvin down. A few times. I think he's going to be able to tire him out a little bit and win rounds. And unfortunately, I think if he wins, he's able to do that and wins, a round or two with just staying on top control, maybe dropping some elbows on him, something like that. I think he can steal this fight. So I think we have a live dog here on our hands. I like Kelvin. I really wish he would, get that form back. Not really regain anything because I feel like he's still a great fighter. He's only 29 years old. But I feel like that Izzy fight, like he saw the top of the mountain. And I don't know if he's able to get back there at this point. He's lost 3 fights in a row. And, I think it was a very disappointing last fight. So is he that hungry where he's coming in here really looking for this win? I'm not really sure, how he approaches this fight. Ian Heinisch, on the other hand, I think he's well coached. I think he's well trained. Great story, as Drew said before. Actually, almost an unbelievable story. Like they need to make that into a movie at some point, a documentary.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think that he has paths. Okay, he can strike. He can also go for the takedown, push him up against the fence. I think he has paths which make him a live dog here. So again, I hate to say I'm not betting anything because we're trying to give you picks and bets here. But I'm not betting this fight. I don't really trust it. I want Kelvin to win as a fan, so that'll be my pick. But I'm not advising a bet at all. So Drew, let's get into this next fight, and I'll throw it to you for the breakdown because I feel like I'm talking too much here. But
okay, just hold on
Yeah.
1 second, because I forgot to chime in right before you said anything. Ian does have a path to victory, and this is just my last thought on that last fight we were talking about. Ian's path to victory, I mean, if you guys want to look up his story, like we mentioned, we forget Ian is an All-American wrestler, so he can wrestle. And I know Kelvin Gastelum, most of his game, when anybody tries to take him down, he has good takedown defense. But like you mentioned, Jacare took him down and controlled him and just pretty much just stayed on him and just neutralized him. Ian can do that here. Ian can get him up against the fence. Ian can take him down. Ian can gas him out. And Ian can just put a wob on him. Because, I mean, here's the thing. Kelvin is a good striker. Kelvin can box. He has good boxing. I don't doubt that. But in the same breath, Kelvin's chin, I feel like if he gets touched by Ian, I feel like he's going to go down. And that's one thing here. When you're so hesitant on 2 levels, you don't want to get blasted and you don't want to get taken down. It's going to get real tricky for Kelvin. So for me, I feel like Ian, if he has a path to victory, it's going to be taking my man down and ground and pounding him. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we see a KO, TKO, second round or early third round, something like that. It's going to be an exhausting fight and it's going to be something real hectic.
I'll introduce this next fight and get it right back to you because again, you make some points there. The issue with this next fight, Julian Marquez and Maki Pitolo. Marquez is 7-2. He's only got 9 fights. Again, Cuban Missile Crisis. He's 30 years old. I believe he has a podcast now, right? Doesn't he? I think he does podcasting. He's gonna have 4 inches of a height advantage, but he actually is at a reach deficit of 1.5 inches to Maki. And again, Maki is from Hawaii. They call him Coconut Bombs because, for the most part, he throws bombs. He's 13-7. He has a bunch of losses where he's been knocked out and submitted. So I think Marquez can get the best of him, but do we really want to bet on a fighter that hasn't fought in 2 years? And I think that's the issue that I have with this one. So again, I'm going to project Julian Marquez to be the winner. That's going to be my pick. But do I trust it? No, I don't really trust it. But I think you do. And again, I think we had a a great conversation last week with Giannis, right? Adrian Giannis was on the show, and one of the questions that I asked him, and anytime we have a UFC fighter on the show, any kind of fighter on the show, I want to ask him, when we see such a clear path to victory, why is it that some of these guys fall in love with their hands and want to strike, right? So I see a clear path to victory for Julian Marquez. I see him having the advantage on the ground if he's able to get Maki down to the ground. So why do you want to give Maki a chance to lay one of those bombs on you? So to me, Marquez has size. He should be able to push Maki up against the wall, up against the cage. Small cage again. We're in Vegas, right? Small cage, and grind him down, get him down to the ground, and then maybe go for that submission. First, second round. I think that the under in this fight, under 2.5, or maybe even under 1.5, definitely inside the distance on this fight. I think Marquez easiest path to victory. I'm not saying he cannot strike. I'm just saying his easiest path to victory is to use some top control, get some top control, use his takedown game, use his grappling, and just kind of negate what Maki brings to the fight. So Drew, what do you think here, brother?
Now, if you find the book that has the under 2.5 prop, I mean, take it, steal it, take out a little loan, and put that shit on it. Because I don't think any book is going to give you the prop at under 2.5. Because this fight, literally from the time that bell rings until someone's on the ground, knocked the hell out, this is just going to be bombs, bro. It's just going to be bombs. Julian Marquez, I understand what you're saying when it comes to his path to victory, and I would agree. He's the bigger fighter. He's the stronger fighter. He even says it himself that he's the stronger fighter. He feels like he can have his way with Maki. But in the same breath, when he says that, he doesn't compare his size to say, hey, I'm going to take him down and beat him up. He says that to say that if he lands compared to Maki, Maki's going to be the one going to sleep. So this fight's just going to be fireworks. They're just going to throw bombs. Look, between the two, I feel like Maki Pitolo is the one that's more dialed in, I guess if you want to say it. He's a bit smaller, so he's going to be the one that can move a little bit better. Marquez, when he throws, he looks a bit like a ooh. So his strikes aren't as sharp. His strikes aren't as fast. But his strikes, when they land, they call him the Cuban Missile Crisis for a reason. They hurt. But he hasn't fought in 2 years. And every time I think about a fighter who hasn't fought in 2 years, I always think, oh yeah, he's going to come in, he's not going to do well, he's going to get shown out, or he's going to gas. But who knows what he's been doing? Maybe he's added another level to his game that's different this time. Maybe another set of combinations. Maybe now he really does have something that he can take a fighter down to the ground and beat him up. He is Cuban. Maybe he does have some wrestling in his background. I honestly don't know, because in most of the fights that I saw, he did take some fighters down, but for the most part, he was just throwing bombs, letting it go. So that's what I see here. Both fighters have the same goal. But if I have to lean anywhere, can you put up the odds for me just one time? I didn't see the odds.
I have the odds ready for you right now, because I got a nice little prop here that I like.
Ooh, that's really nice. I personally am not going to bet any of the fighters, either way. I'm just going to bet the fight that I like, the prop that I mentioned, which would be the fight to either not go the distance, because this is not going the distance. The judges can take the fight off for this one, or the under 1.5, or whatever that is. Or even better, on FanDuel, they do have the props for how the fight is going to end. Just put KO and TKO, because I don't see anybody getting subbed unless Maki leaves his neck out, because Julian Marquez does have a finish by a guillotine. And he does have a really, really good guillotine. So that might be one of the ways, but I doubt it.
All right, so Drew, I found this prop while you were talking, and I know that you're not really calling for the sub, but what do you think about this number right here? If we were to do Marquez, right? I know you're Captain Parlay, so if you do Marquez sub round 1 plus 2,100, Marquez sub round 2 plus 3,000. I think those are in play, bro.
If I have to do anything, I'd probably go Marquez sub round 2.
Well, again, you don't have to do anything, but your name is Captain Parlay, so you're probably going to do something.
No. Believe me, I already have parlays written down that I like, specifically for this card. But these guys weren't part of them. You know, if I have to tell you how I make my parlays, you know, I always have the fights that we talk about here, and automatically I put them in as straights. But then most of the time, I get a little tricky, and I start to stack little parlays. Me and you already know I have my millipede parlay, which is literally a parlay where I take every single fight on the card, and I try to predict how every fight is going to end. The closest I've ever gotten was 10 out of 11 fights, and you know I lost to Usman that night, so I'm trying to get redemption on this card.
Well, let's get into this next fight because we spent enough time on that card, on that fight, and again, when you do your millipedes, we got to get into every one of these fights. So we got Macy Barber and Alexa Grasso, and this is in terms of matching two people up, this is a great match. Macy Barber, I believe, is 22 years old, coming off the injury, and Alexa Grasso is 27 years old. Now, the issue with this fight is where is Macy Barber, right? Both of these girls, Alexa Grasso and Macy Barber, were huge hype trains, right? And unfortunately, I think Alexa Grasso's hype train was kind of derailed because she's shown to not have the takedown defense needed to beat some of these top wrestlers, right? Tatiana Suarez exposed it. Carla Esparza exposed it. As good as her striking is, it could look great against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I thought it was outstanding. If we get that fight and that striking here against Macy Barber, I think this is going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be a hell of a striking fight. But I also do think that Macy Barber is going to pick her opportunity to get the takedown, drag Alexa down to the ground, get on top of her, and her ground and pound is outstanding for weight class. So, again, I'm not betting either way just yet because I want to see Macy Barber a little bit. I want to see her in weigh-ins. I want to see her move. But this is a great – if you can get into that fight and maybe the first round, you know, they get in, you like what you see from Macy, but it's still close, I would live bet Macy Barber because I think it's just a matter of time before she gets her takedowns and finishes off this fight, or at the very least, you know, wins a unanimous decision, winning the second and third round. I'm just worried. I don't know what's going to happen with Macy coming off that injury. And, you know, she's young. She's 22 years old. I'm kind of surprised that they're putting her in the ring with Alexa Grasso on her first time back. I guess it's the right fight, right? Macy's number 9 in the world. Grasso's number 20. So it's just Grasso has very, very sharp boxing. So if this stays on the feet, like, this is a toss-up. I think where Macy has the advantage is she can drag Alexa down to the ground and just kind of ground and powder and beat her up. I just, coming off the injury, I'm just not sure it's going to happen. So, Drew, what do you think here, bro?
Well, just to piggyback a little bit off what you said, Macy Barber, the reason why I feel like they're putting her up against Alexa Grasso, and the reason why Alexa Grasso, like, why the rankings here like are kind of like 20 and number 9, it doesn't matter, is because of what you started out by saying. These are two hype trains, essentially, that were derailed at some point, right? You had Macy Barber, who was derailed by her own injury, and then you have Alexa Grasso, who was derailed by being exposed by her takedown defense. And then, you know, she had a couple fights canceled, and then she came back, won a decision fight against Jinya Kim, which she looked good. You know, she won unanimous. She showed her striking. She looked sharp. She looked amazing. She looked like the Alexa Grasso that everyone thought she could be. Now, here's where we're going to go head-to-head again, because I'm leaning more Grasso here. When I first started seeing Macy's tape, I was leaning Macy a little bit because of how aggressive she is, how hard she hits. For her division and to be in this division, she hits very hard for a flyweight. She has really sharp elbows. She has really good ground and pound. When she gets you up against the fence, she really knows how to beat you up, and she really knows how to weigh on you. Now, what I didn't like is that in a lot of the fights that she was in, it wasn't like she was winning a lot of these fights like unanimously, unless she was finishing or whatever it is. But like in a lot of the fights, she seemed like to be in trouble in some of her fights. In one of her fights, she got knocked down. In the Jillian Robinson fight, you could have said she was gonna pretty much, you know, like have a tough night, and then she caught Jillian with that punch, and then put her out. But in most of the fights, Macy Barber, what she has to do is close the distance to get in and use all of her weapons. And in this case, I feel like Alexa Grasso, number one, is not going to get taken down. I feel like if anything, right, like every time that you fight as a fighter and you've gotten exposed and you've lost, one time by rear naked choke, the next time just getting taken down and beaten up, you're pretty much going to work on that and that alone, because her boxing is sharp. Her boxing is, I think, one of the sharpest in the division. Her head movement, her footwork, pretty much everything that if you're going to strike with Alexa Grasso, good luck. And that's what I have to say with Macy.
Well, she is Mexican, right? She comes from a good boxing camp.
Yeah, exactly. So here, Macy Barber, her path to victory, and just like you were asking Yanez, why do people not, stick to the plan? If Macy doesn't stick to the plan and tries to strike even a little bit, which she will, because this fight, when I saw it, I was excited the way that these ladies fight. They both come forward, they both strike, they both bring it, but in the same breath, one is more calculated than the other. Macy has to really close the distance here to use all of her tools and her elbows, and she's used to walking through fire a lot of the time to get what she wants. Is she going to be able to walk through the fire that Alexa Grasso is bringing? That's where I feel like she won't. I feel like Alexa's going to stay sharp. Alexa's going to stay on her feet. And if she does get taken down, because, don't get me wrong, Alexa did get exposed in those two losses and got taken down by high-level fighters. But in every other fight, when people tried to take her down, when people literally game plan was to take her down, they couldn't. If anything, she took them down, and then she finished off the combination with a 1-2 with a body kick or something like that, or a head kick. So that's where I feel like in this fight, if anything, you have two bets that I would like is for the fight to go the distance, because although they do throw leather and they do throw hard, I don't see them standing and banging because of the game plans that they're both going to bring to the fight. Macy has to close the distance, and Alexa Grasso is going to have to keep the distance and try to keep Macy off of her most of the fight, which I feel like she will do successfully, but we'll wait and see. But if I have to lean anywhere, it'll be for this fight to go all the way. So yes to the distance, over 2.5. And if I have to do a sneaky little bet like we did with the Marquez, it'd probably be for the Alexa Grasso KO in round 2.
And again, we're talking here. I'm posting some of the odds currently at FanDuel. So if anybody's in Jersey, we have the friends and family sign-up bonus. So by all means, come on over to the website and you can grab that bonus. But will the fight go to the distance? Is -260 for yes.
That's a good parlay piece for me.
Right now. Yeah, it's not bad at all as a parlay piece. I do like that. I'll be honest with you. When you saw the line here, who did you think was going to be the favorite?
To be completely honest, just based off activity and everything, I'd probably say Alexa was probably going to be the favorite.
Okay. See, I kind of thought Macy was going to be the favorite. So I like the dog price on Macy Barber right here. I think she has a clear path to victory. I think they both do. If Grasso can stay on the feet, I think that she has a path to victory. To be able to piece her up and use her boxing. If Macy's able to get her down, I think there's a clear path to victory there. We'll see which girl has her way. Drew, I'm going to introduce this main event, and I'm going to throw it back to you because I really do want to get your take on it. I know you're a big fan of Gilbert Burns, but this is a really, really good fight, right? Former teammates Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. This is the main event headliner for this card. Usman's 17-1, and I believe his lone loss was by a submission, if I do say so myself. And Gilbert Burns is 19-3. Yeah, rear naked choke. And Gilbert Burns is 19-3. BJJ black belt extraordinaire. You can talk about his credentials, but this is a guy who, for the most part, is in a lot of grappling matches outside of his UFC fights, and he fights the best grapplers in the world. So when it comes to BJJ, these guys are basically the same age, 33, 34 years old. Usman is going to have a 2-inch height advantage. and a 6-inch reach advantage. So does this go to the ground? Does Usman want to take it to the ground? Does Burns want to backpack him, try to pull a Damian Maia, get some hip control and maybe work his way up to a standing rear naked choke, something like that? Does he want to strike? Does he want to use his BJJ? Where does this fight go?
Now, here's why I feel so strongly about Burns and why I feel like this is such a great matchup for him and not so much of a great matchup for Kamaruddin, because now in Gilbert Burns' matches, right, I remember feeling the same exact way when he was fighting. Who was it he was fighting? I think it's funny because most of these fights that you see here, most of them are like jiu-jitsu and competitions and things like that. That's the fight it was, I think, when we lost a little bit of money. And it was a while back, but I still remember. Is a Dan Hooker fight where you feel like, oh, he's a good striker. Yeah, you know, he's a good striker. He's okay. If it's not going to go to the ground, and you feel like he's the more powerful guy here. Now, Dan Hooker is just a better striker, so that's why he won that fight. But in this matchup, the Nigerian Nightmare is not the better striker. If anything, Gilbert is the better striker here. And that's something to say because Gilbert, he is a good striker, but he's not a world-class striker either. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. Through and through, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's almost along the same lines as like you would say like a Rodolfo Vieira. Obviously, Rodolfo Vieira is a legend, living legend. But what I mean is that he's a purist. He's a specialist. It's about jiu-jitsu when it comes to Gilbert Burns. And that's where I feel like this is a bad matchup because unless Kamaruddin is literally only going to keep Gilbert Burns up against the fence and just keep him up against the fence, not take him down to the ground, just keep him up against the fence and stomp his toes and just beat him up with shoulder punches and different things like that. That's the only way I feel like Usman's going to win because taking him down to the ground and trying to ground and pound somebody who is a specialist on the ground, I don't feel like that's going to be a good thing. I mean, we're not talking about Khabib here who's going to tie you up and lace you up. I mean, Usman is good on the ground. I don't take anything away from him. He's a wrestler. He's great. You know, he wrestled with Askren, whatever that is, man. I honestly don't see this game plan for the Nightmare working, man. I don't see him taking Gilbert to the ground. I don't see him having his way with Gilbert on the ground. And if anything, Gilbert has the more power here. Because let's be real. Yeah, this guy, Yeah, Usman broke Colby's jaw. But, I mean, how many times have you ever seen that? Not many. And how many times have you seen Gilbert put people out? A couple times. So, I mean, just with that being said, and just with what I just have to say, please bring up the line. Please show me.
Oh, I got you. Right here. I had it already. So we
Look
got
at that.
We got Usman minus 290.
Now, do me one favor. Go to Gilbert Burns and hit that plus 225 button right there. Yep, right there. Just pick him to win.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to talk. You always talk double chance. You haven't mentioned double chance at all here. Do you like any of these double chance props here from Gilbert Burns?
Now, here's the thing. I would go strictly submission or points if it wasn't for the fact that Gilbert Burns can knock out Usman. But in this case, right, I don't feel like Usman is going to give Gilbert the opportunity to really use that explosiveness. If the explosiveness gets used, it'll be on the ground. It'll be in the movement, because keep in mind, these guys have trained with each other before, so they know exactly what they're capable of. But if I have to do anything, right, think about this. You have Gilbert Burns at plus 225. You have Ian Hirsch at plus 2-something too, right? And then you have Andre Ewell at plus 136. Parlay those three alone. And put $10 on it. Put lunch money on it. And congratulations. Captain Parlay just made you some money.
I tell you what I like, though. I do like, will the fight go to the distance? I think this is a yes here. I think this fight's going to go the distance.
You know what's crazy? I don't think it does.
No? Well, again, we can go heads up on a lot of fights here. I think that Burns by submission is a real possibility. I really hope that he wants to try to use some of his grappling. I would love to see him get on the ground with Usman. I just feel like there's going to be a point early in this fight, first round, most likely, maybe second round, where they get into a grappling exchange, and Burns is at that point is going to know, all right, this guy, and again, they were former training partners, so he may already know, but he's going to test his will and say, all right, this guy's strong. You know, like this isn't where I want to take this fight. I gotta try to win. I gotta try to win rounds on the feet with my striking. And again, I don't think that's going to go well for Burns. I would like to see him get this fight to the ground, win rounds. Usman has the size; he's got the reach. So again, if it stays in the feet, Burns is going to have to get on the inside. Is he going to be able to do that? I really don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. But I do want to see this fight go to the ground. I don't know which guy is going to want to bring it to the ground. But again, I think there's something to be said here about these guys being former training partners, and then they have an idea of what they want to do. You know what I mean? And I believe Usman is the one who changed camps, right? Usman is the one who left.
But that's on purpose.
And Burns stayed where he is. But yeah, and again, I just feel like Burns knows what he wants to do here. I think Usman does too. I don't know if he's comfortable with the improvements that Burns has made.
You see, that's where the problem is for me.
This may be the first show that I'm not really recommending any bets right now. Again, I got to do some more tape study. Yeah.
Yep.
Drew, you're cutting out here a little bit.
Yeah, you got me? I'm here now.
All right, I'm sorry. We're gonna end the show now just because Drew's cutting out. His Wi-Fi isn't as strong. But any questions, by all means, let us know during the week. We can help you out later in the week. Drew, you've been posting your NBA bets on a daily basis, your prop bets?
Yep. I went 3-0 yesterday. Let's check out where I'm at today. So far, I hit one tonight with Eric Bledsoe over on assist. Let me see if Joe Harris let me down like I thought he might have. Yes. Let me see. Yep. So miss on Joe Harris, and my last one was Keldon Johnson under 1.5 3-pointer. And he is atrocious tonight from everywhere. So that's looking great.
So I was 3-0 last night with my college basketball bets. I'm doing 3 a day right now. I'm 1-1. I also have some other bets that I don't post. So if anybody wants anything, by all means, just hit me up. So Drew, good luck this weekend. Let's get some bets, and I'll be putting out 3 UFC bets for everybody also.
What up? It's your boy DJ Naeem. I want to give a huge shout out. Going out to my Jersey boys, breaking down these UFC cards, baby. Let's go.
Got a little mama and she chillin' by the poolside. Fashion over drip, body done with a hair tie. Ex keep calling to that boy, he need to sit back. You don't got a bag, you can never get your chick back. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans.